What if the most important project you'll ever work on isn't your career, your relationships, or your possessions, but you? And what if neglecting this project is the root of every struggle you face? Many people drift through life believing they're simply products of their circumstances, that fate, luck, or their environment dictates their path. But this perspective misses a fundamental truth. Life isn't something that happens to you. It is something you build. Look at anything of substance in the world. The home you live in, the career you admire, the strong physique you notice. None appeared by accident. Each began as a vision, a blueprint in someone's mind, brought into reality through persistent, deliberate effort. The same creative principle applies to you. You are not a finished product. You are a living construction site, a work of art in perpetual progress. But here is what makes you unique among all projects. You are both the architect and the material. You are the only creation capable of designing its own destiny, and tragically, the only one that can sabotage it. Most individuals pour their energy into the external world. The money they accumulate, the validation they crave, the things they acquire. Yet the most potent secret is this. Your outer reality is merely a mirror reflecting your inner state. When you commit to working on yourself, everything shifts. Your health revitalizes. Your connections deepen. Your perception sharpens. Your energy multiplies. Your influence grows. When you order your inner world, your outer world falls into place. But if you neglect yourself, if you cease to be your own priority, you become a supporting character in someone else's story. You serve ambitions that are not your own, living on autopilot, gradually fading into the background. This is not a temporary pep talk. It is a crucial wake-up call, a reminder that no external savior is coming. You must be the one to rise, to invest in yourself, to evolve. For you are your most significant undertaking. And if you build yourself with intention, discipline, and love, you can become the most extraordinary masterpiece the world has ever witnessed. The time to start is now. Your instrument is decision. Your method is consistent action. And your reward is the liberation to become who you were always meant to be. Chapter 1. Embrace your supreme responsibility. Every genuine transformation begins the moment you stop waiting. Waiting for others to validate you. Waiting for old wounds to magically heal. Waiting for perfect circumstances. Waiting for a rescuer. It is in that decisive instant of awareness that real growth ignites. When you fully accept that your experiences, your emotions, and your becoming are ultimately your responsibility. This isn't about self-blame. It is about claiming your power. It is the recognition that what you disown controls you, but what you claim authority over transforms you. As long as you tell yourself you cannot change until the world changes for you, you will wait for a life that never arrives. Yet the moment you take the helm of your own being, when you realize your physical health, your mental landscape, your character, your habits, your vitality, and your outlook are in your hands, everything begins to reorganize from the inside out. Making yourself your main priority is not selfish. It is the highest form of intelligence. It is understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup, that you cannot guide anyone if you cannot lead yourself, that you cannot offer genuine love if you have not built yourself with integrity. No one can do this work for you. You can find inspiration in others. You can seek support. You can ask for direction. Absolutely. But the labor of constructing your own humanity is non-negotiable and non-transferable. You are the designer, the blueprint, the foundation, and the tool. The sooner you embrace this, the sooner you will witness tangible results. Because success is not random. Love is not an accident. Fulfillment is not a lottery. Everything has an origin, and that origin is you. You are your most vital project, and if you do not take that duty seriously, no one else will. Chapter 2. The bedrock of growth is radical self-awareness. You cannot improve what you refuse to examine. It is that straightforward. Most people live as if their inner world were a locked room. They are afraid to look inside, terrified of what they might discover. Unhealed pain, self-defeating patterns, shadowy thoughts, suppressed longings, postponed choices. But authentic personal development starts when you find the courage to pause and confront yourself honestly. Self-awareness is not declaring, "This is just how I am," and surrendering. It is observing yourself with brutal honesty and a fierce desire for evolution. It is asking the difficult questions. Why do I consistently react this way? What uncomfortable truth am I running from? What is the origin of this persistent fear? What secondary benefit do I get from staying stuck? Until you comprehend your mental loops, your unconscious emotions, your self-limiting beliefs, and your psychological defenses, you will remain a prisoner to yourself. There is no liberation without awareness, and no ascent without discomfort. You must venture into your darker corners, not to flagellate yourself, but to bring light to the confusion residing there. To know yourself is to realize you are not your past errors, not your traumas, not your former habits. You are vastly more than that. But to access that elevated version of yourself, you must first meet the real one. The version you have ignored, the one that desperately needs your attention and your work. Stop crafting excuses. Stop claiming you are this way because of your upbringing, because you were wounded, because life has been difficult. We all carry scars, but not all of us choose to mend them. Growth ignites on the day you decide to be different, not because of what happened to you, but because of who you have chosen to become. Look at yourself directly. Accept what you see. Study every facet, your brilliance and your shadows, your anxieties and your aspirations. Because the more intimately you understand your inner workings, the more skillfully you can rebuild. And with every forward step, with every destructive pattern you shatter, you send a silent, powerful message to the universe. I'm working on myself, and I will not be stopped. Chapter 3. Your mindset builds or breaks your reality. Every step you take, every choice you make, every goal you pursue or avoid, originates from a belief. A quiet yet formidable idea living in your mind about your identity, your capabilities, and what you believe you deserve. If you're convinced you can't, if you feel you're not enough, if you think effort is futile, you will never begin, because your mind will seal your fate before you even move. But the reality is, nothing is permanent. The mind is not a life sentence. It is a system that can be reprogrammed. But this reprogramming demands conscious effort and unwavering will. Desire alone is insufficient. You must learn to think as the person who already embodies the greatness you seek. You must train your internal monologue until it becomes your greatest supporter, not your worst critic. Every time you whisper, "I can't. This isn't for me. It's too late," you are feeding a mental algorithm designed to keep you small. And that voice is not your authentic self. It was assembled from past criticisms, rejections, and failures. But you can rewrite the code. You can replace that limiting narrative with one that empowers you. This is not mystical thinking. It is conscious, disciplined, daily renewal. It is the intentional decision to nourish your mind with new mental images, new symbols, and new, expansive ideas. Because what the mind can consistently conceive, the individual will inevitably pursue. Reprogramming your mind is not a luxury. It is a necessity. You will never consistently outperform your self-image. If you cannot visualize yourself as worthy, disciplined, and capable, your actions will reflect that limited vision. But when you begin to see yourself as someone committed to your own excellence, your behavior naturally aligns with that powerful self-concept. This is not self-deception. It is mental training. And once you master it, you will see that most of your perceived limits were inherited illusions, ideas that no longer serve your highest good. Chapter 4. Honor your body as your primary instrument. Your body is not a mere vehicle. It is the sacred instrument through which your consciousness engages with the world. It is the home of your vitality, your determination, your feelings, and your very presence. And without vibrant energy, there can be no sustained evolution. You might have brilliant ideas, magnificent dreams, and an optimistic spirit, but without physical vigor, resilience, and health, you will lack the stamina for the long journey of growth. Caring for your body is an act of profound reverence for your existence, not driven by vanity, but by a deep understanding. Every nourishing meal, every hour of quality rest, every intentional movement is a direct investment in your future self. Sleep is not indulgence. It is non-negotiable restoration. Mindful eating is not a fad. It is ancient wisdom. Physical activity is not about appearance. It is a ritual to maintain momentum in both body and mind. Many attempt to transform their lives through intellect alone, forgetting that the mind itself is housed within the body. A tired, inflamed, or neglected physical vessel cannot sustain a heightened state of awareness. This is why Carl Jung emphasized that the psyche is embodied, that soul and body are a single, interconnected energy field. Treat your body as you would treat a priceless masterpiece, with attentive care, compassion, and disciplined respect, because that is what you are: invaluable, dynamic, and deserving of nurture. Transform exercise into a sacred ritual, nourishment into a conscious act, and rest into an uncompromising priority. Not because it is effortless, but because it is essential. You're not a disembodied thought. You are mind, spirit, flesh, and blood in perfect integration. Each aspect must be in harmony for you to truly thrive. Honoring your body is not the final goal. It is the foundational step for everything else that follows. Chapter 5. Become your own most supportive guide. No one spends more time with you than you do. No one hears your thoughts as often as you hear them yourself. Your inner voice, though silent to the outside world, is your most constant companion, your most persuasive influence, and, depending on how you cultivate it, your most dangerous adversary or your most powerful ally. Ask yourself this: if another person spoke to you the way you speak to yourself in your mind, would you tolerate their presence in your life? You permit an internal stream of criticism, judgment, and blame that you would never accept from anyone else. Do you build yourself up or tear yourself down? Do you remind yourself of your resilience or obsess over your imperfections? The truth is, many people fail not from a lack of innate talent, but because they live under the tyranny of a ruthless inner critic, a mental judge that offers no forgiveness and provides no inspiration, the one that hisses, "You'll fail. You're too late. You never succeed. You are not sufficient." But you have the power to change this dynamic. You can become your own greatest coach. You can learn to speak to yourself as someone who genuinely wants to see you succeed. Firm, yet kind. Demanding, yet compassionate. One who doesn't ignore your mistakes, but uses them as learning fuel, not as a weapon for self-punishment. Because when your internal dialogue shifts, your entire life trajectory changes. Imagine the transformation if your inner voice consistently reminded you that you're making progress, that you are capable of learning, that you are strong, resilient, and disciplined. That voice does not emerge by chance. It is consciously cultivated, diligently practiced, and forged in the fires of mindful awareness. And the effort is profoundly worthwhile, because if you are destined to live with yourself every single day, then why not become your own most reliable source of strength and encouragement? Chapter 6. Master the art of solitude. Being alone is not a sentence. It is a privilege for those who are prepared for depth. While masses flee from silence, you can leverage it as your personal training ground, your sacred space for internal development. Solitude does not signify incompleteness. It signifies the courage to meet your true self without the buffer of external noise. The most significant personal revolutions are never born in chaos. They emerge when you consciously choose to sit with your thoughts, your fears, and your deepest desires in the quiet company of your own being. To be truly alone, without seeking external validation or applause, is a hallmark of inner sovereignty. It is the capacity to hold space for yourself, to know yourself profoundly, and to build your life from its very core. Carl Jung taught that solitude is the soul's forge, the place where the unconscious reveals its most profound insights. When you learn to be alone without feeling empty, You awaken an unshakable inner fortitude because you no longer depend on outside stimulation to feel whole. You no longer require the world's permission to know your own worth. You already possess that knowledge, and that self-knowledge is the ultimate freedom. For those who do not fear being with themselves, there is no terror of rejection, of criticism, or of starting over. But this mastery is not achieved instantly. It requires that you learn to be comfortable in your own company without anxiety, that you use those silent moments to read, to reflect, to plan, to express gratitude, to turn your solitary time into fertile soil where the most powerful visions for your life can take root and flourish. Many people are perpetually surrounded by others, yet feel profoundly isolated. You can choose a different path. You can live in harmony with your own presence, in a state of continuous growth and purposeful alignment. Because when you learn to be at peace within yourself, the rest of the world loses its power to destabilize you. Chapter 7. Design your days as strategic investments. Most people are trapped in their routines, not because they are highly productive, but because they are comfortable. They wake up, repeat the same actions, react to the same triggers, and somehow expect a different outcome. But mindless routine is not progress. It's stagnation in disguise. You are not here to repeat identical days. You are here to construct, to advance, to intentionally design a life of meaning. Every small habit is either a deposit into your future or a debt you will pay later. Every single choice you make, for what you consume mentally and physically, to when you rise, to who you engage with, to what you focus on, and how you conduct yourself, either moves you closer to or further from the person you aspire to become. It is not about monumental, overnight overhauls. It is about small, consistent daily upgrades. A consciously designed routine functions like a compound interest investment plan. What you sow with intention today will yield results tomorrow. And though the initial deposits may seem insignificant, over time that relentless consistency generates extraordinary returns. Your calendar is a transparent ledger of your character. Your schedule is an honest report card. It reveals whether you are actively building your future or merely surviving your present. That is why it is time to cease living on autopilot and start living with deliberate purpose. Ask yourself this pivotal question: do my daily actions actively contribute to the life I truly desire, or do they merely serve as distractions from a void I am afraid to confront? Your day should not be a soul-draining repetition. It should be a conscious architecture, a deliberate life strategy. Because you are not just working toward external goals, you are working on the very core of your being, and you're the most valuable asset you will ever possess. Chapter 8. Forge courage through action, not waiting. Waiting to feel brave before you act is like waiting to be in shape before you start exercising. The logic is backwards. Courage does not magically appear as a feeling you must first possess. It is forged in the furnace of action, even when fear is your companion. Courage is the reward for brave behavior, not its prerequisite. Countless individuals postpone their lives, waiting to feel ready, confident, and secure, and consequently, they never begin. But others understand a deeper truth. Genuine personal power is activated the moment you step into the unknown. Trembling, perhaps, but fully alive, your heart ignited by a sense of purpose. That is authentic courage. That is genuine growth. That is real transformation. Your self-worth will not elevate because you recite affirmations in a mirror. It will elevate because you start consistently doing the very things that once intimidated you. Because you keep your promises to yourself. Because you honor your vision and your discipline. Because you stop retreating and start advancing, even if your initial steps are awkward and uncertain. Every single time you choose to act with bravery, despite the discomfort, despite the uncertainty, you reinforce a powerful new identity. Your mind learns a new truth. I am someone who faces challenges. I am someone who moves forward. I am someone who perseveres. And that kind of earned, action-based confidence is something no one can bestow upon you, and no one can take away. Do not plead for courage. Do not seek it in the approval of others. Do not wait for it as if it were a passing emotion. Build it, brick by brick, through decisive action, through unwavering discipline, through daily acts of inner strength. Because when you become the kind of person who does what needs to be done even while feeling afraid, you will realize that no external obstacle can ultimately defeat you. You cease to be a passive spectator in the story of your life. You become its conscious, empowered author. Chapter 9. Your future self is waiting in your present actions. The most powerful, evolved version of who you can be already exists as a potential within you. It is not a distant fantasy. It is a future reality already seated in your consciousness. It calls to you every time you envision a more fulfilling existence. Every time you feel a deep knowing that you are capable of more, that you deserve more. That version is not far away in some distant future. It resides just on the other side of your daily, disciplined effort. But here is the essential, non-negotiable truth. It will not manifest on its own. It will not come to rescue you. It will not simply arrive at your door. It only materializes when you act with clear purpose, steadfast discipline, and unwavering commitment. Especially on the days you don't feel like it. Especially when you are tired. Especially when your progress seems invisible to the naked eye. Every day you move forward with intention. You draw closer to that future self. Every time you surrender, you push it further into the distance. You were never designed for a life of mediocrity. You were engineered to evolve, to shatter the limitations of your history, to stop recycling inherited excuses and to instead construct a robust, authentic identity. Your starting point does not define your finish line. What defines your destiny is what you are willing to do about your current situation. Because personal transformation is not a matter of luck. It is the inevitable, logical consequence of persistent, focused effort. A future is patiently awaiting your arrival. A future where you're already disciplined, focused, self-assured, and resilient. A future where you hold a profound, unwavering respect for yourself, precisely because you refused to quit when surrender was the easier path. That version of you is already a potential reality in the timeline of your life. But it needs you to say yes today, to act today, to rise today, even if the steps seem small and insignificant. Because the only thing standing between the person you are now and the person you are destined to become is what you consciously choose to do with this day and every day that follows. You are your greatest project, and this project does not begin tomorrow or when conditions are perfect. It begins in this very moment, with a decision, with an action, with faith in your own potential. Do not stop. Do not betray the promise within you, because your highest self is closer than you can currently imagine, and it is worth building with every fiber of your being. You are the one project you can never ethically abandon. When everything else fades away, when the distractions cease, when everyone else departs, only you remain. You, with the sum total of your choices. You, with the architecture of your habits. You, with the quality of your mind. You, with the authorship of your story. And in that profound silence, the ultimate truth is revealed. The most significant, most sacred, most valuable project of your entire existence is you. The external world will constantly tempt you to chase 1,000 different things: wealth, approval, status, external markers of success. But if you are not fundamentally well, nothing you acquire will ever feel truly right. If you do not work on the core of your character, your inner resilience, and your personal vision, every external victory will feel hollow. Because genuine success is not ultimately measured by what you accumulate. It is measured by who you become in the process of striving. Working on yourself is not a leisurely pastime or an optional extra. It is an urgent, non-negotiable priority. You're the root system of your entire life experience. The quality of your inner world determines the quality of your outer experience. If you tend to your inner garden with care, you will flourish outwardly. If you neglect it, you will inevitably wither. This is an unassailable law of human existence, and it is the point where the majority of people falter. They desire a new life while clutching tightly to their old mindset. They crave extraordinary outcomes, but resist the journey of becoming an extraordinary individual. You cannot remain who you have been and simultaneously arrive at a destination you have never visited. You must renew yourself. You must elevate yourself. You must consciously rebuild yourself day after day, without excuse or apology. This path of self-construction is not easy. Working on yourself demands effort and can be painful. Facing your fears, dismantling your patterns, disciplining your mind, establishing new habits, releasing toxic connections, rising when no one is watching. It all requires immense inner strength. But it is worth the struggle because you are worth the investment. Your future is worth the sacrifice. Carl Jung's wisdom reminds us that authentic peace and power only emerge when one awakens the latent greatness within. Never forget this profound principle. Everything you seek in the external world is patiently waiting for you to first become the kind of person who can genuinely receive it and hold it. Your growth is never an accidental occurrence. It is a series of deliberate, conscious choices. And that choice stands before you, clear and present, in every single moment of every single day. So, return to yourself. Return to your essential purpose. Rebuild your life from the inside out with love, with unwavering commitment, with resilient strength. Because when you, as an individual, grow, everything in your orbit is elevated. And when you courageously become your highest self, you inspire the world around you without ever needing to utter a single word. You are your own most profound work of art. Begin the work now. Persevere relentlessly. And never, ever stop. If this message connected with a deep part of you, please like this video and subscribe to Winds of Thought. There is so much more to explore on this journey of inner strength. And hold on to this final truth. The most powerful relationship you will ever cultivate is the one you build with yourself. Respect yourself enough to grow, to evolve, and to live in your fullest truth. Because every meaningful thing you will ever experience or achieve begins with the person you choose to become.